Hello chess friends and welcome to the channel. The Women's World Championship match ended yesterday with the tiebreak. After 12 rounds with 6 decisive games, the score was equal and the players began the tiebreak with 2 long rapid games with 25 minutes on the clock. Both games ended in a draw, but in the first one, Goryachkina with the black pieces was dominating, but then in time trouble, she was not able to find the right moves, so it was a great missed opportunity. The first one of the next two rapid games, still with 25 minutes on the clock, was the decisive one and we are going to watch it together. Ju Wenjun with white, Goryachkina with black. Let's get started. Ju Wenjun opens with knight to f3, the Reti opening. Here comes d5, g3 and c6 creates the pawn wall against the bishop in fianchetto. Bishop to g2, now bishop to g4 brings the bishop out of the pawn chain. Short castle for white and knight to d7, h3 attacking the bishop, bishop back to h5 and now d4 controlling e5. So here comes e6, c4 attacking the center and bishop to e7. C captures on d5, e captures on d5 and knight to c3. Now bishop captures on f3 is the most played move in this position. E captures on f3 instead is a novelty because recapturing with the bishop looks more natural. The game is now original and more or less equal, but white has the isolated d pawn. Knight to f6, h4 that clears h3 for the bishop. Short castle for black and now bishop to h3. Knight to b6, queen to d3 and now rook to e8. b3 controlling the outpost so that the knight cannot jump to c4. Now it seems to me that the natural way to complete the development for black with complete equality is bishop to d6 and then queen to c7. Another nice idea probably is bishop back to f8, not played by Goryachkina in this position, that gives the e5 to the rook, and if possible the bishop will move to g7. Now in this position, bishop to d2 to connect the rooks, a5 is good, white must play a4, if not a4 will come played by the black player and black is better. Now queen to c7 and if bishop to f4, bishop to d6 is completely fine because changing the pieces favors black the side without the isolated pawn. But let's go back to our game. After b3, instead of queen to c7, bishop to d6, here comes knight back to d7. That begins to complicate things because this knight will need many more moves to find the right square. Here comes rook to e1, good move, bishop to e6, now the rook is under attack, so here comes bishop to d2, connecting the rooks. a5, king to g2, knight back to f8, and now rook captures on e8. Queen captures, rook to e1 attacking the queen, and queen back to d8. Knight to d1, knight to d7, knight to e3, and now queen to b6. Now this pawn is 2 times under attack, only protected by the queen. So bishop to c3. Here comes a4, b4 is good, knight to e6, 3 pieces attacking the pawn, and so here comes bishop captures on e6. The f pawn recaptures, knight to g4, the pawn is under attack, rook to e8 protecting e6, and now f4 is good, advancing the double pawn. f5 is probably coming, and the pawn will be pinned because there is the unprotected rook behind the pawn. So queen back to d8, protecting the rook, and now h5. This position, h6, played by Goryachkina, is a mistake, not because this move is bad per se, but is a mistake because white should play b5, blocking the queen side, because if not, it's white that can advance the b pawn with advantage. In fact, in this position, b5, not played by Ju Wenjun, is the best move. Knight back to f8, b captures. Here comes bishop to b4, with the bishop finally on a very good diagonal. Then bishop to c5, also protecting the pawn. Queen to c2, and these 2 pawns goes under attack. And this position is really a strong position, probably a winning position for white. Let's go back to our game. Instead, after h6, here comes rook to e3. That is a great missed opportunity, but white is still better. Now king to h8 and b5. Here it is, the good move. Knight back to b8, queen to e2. The pawn is again under attack. C captures, queen captures. Two pawns under attack. Now queen to c8, defending b7. Queen captures on a4 and white is a pawn up. Knight to c6 and now bishop to b2. Rook to e7, queen to c2. There is also the idea to invade and move the queen to g6. That's why here comes queen to e8 controlling the square. Knight captures on f6 and g captures on f6. Bishop to a3, not only attacking the rook, but with now the bishop on a very good diagonal. Rook to g7 and now f5. The pawn is pinned because there is the queen. So here comes e5, d captures, f captures, and now f6, attacking the rook. If the rook moves to f7, then the queen is able to invade with terrible threats. So here comes rook to g5, still protecting this g6 square with the rook that is also attacking the pawn, but the position is now desperate. Here comes f4. The pawn cannot capture again because there is the queen behind the pawn. So rook captures on h5, and in this position Ju Wenjun probably misses the best continuation. She captures with the f-pawn on e5, that is still winning, but if we go back one move, here there is something much stronger. g4 attacking the rook, not played by white, almost traps the rook. So rook to h4 on the move. Now queen to f5, finally here comes the invasion. Queen to f7, and only now f captures on e5. Knight to d4 attacking the queen is the best move, but the queen can move to c8 with check. Queen to g8, and the queen exchange is already enough because queen captures, king captures. And now king to g3, protecting the pawn and attacking the rook. Rook to h1, white keeps advancing the connected pass pawns. Rook to g1, king to f2. This pawn is not a problem now because this capture doesn't come with check. Here comes f7 with check, and of course the pawn helped by this bishop will promote to queen and will win the game. Let's go back to our game. Instead, after rook captures on h5, Ju Wenjun immediately recaptured. Of course, this structure is very strong. Here comes queen to e6. There is this problem, queen to h3 with check. So king back to g1, and here comes d4. That is the last mistake. Rook to f5, protecting the rook, is the best defense. But why is this d4 a mistake? Because black has the unprotected rook. There is also a possible checkmate threat with queen to g6. So combine these two weaknesses, and queen to g6 is a double attack, the checkmate threat, and the rook is under attack. Of course, the rook is gone, and so the game. Here comes queen to d7, that at least for now is saving the checkmate. Here comes e6, attacking the queen. Queen to c7, there is also this idea, but here comes queen captures on h5. That is a good move, and black resigns. Let's go back one move. In this position, instead of capturing the rook, e7 is more elegant and also stronger because nothing can stop the two checkmate threats, queen to g7 and also e8 that becomes queen checkmate. But let's go back to the final position, that is queen captures on h5, and let's make some other moves. After d captures on e3, there is queen captures on h6 with check, king to h7, and again the queen exchange is enough to win the game. Queen captures, king captures, e7, knight captures, f captures. Even if this pawn will promote, but the white pawn will promote first, and this is complete game over. The last rapid game ended in a draw, so with this victory Ju Wenjun remains world champion, but after a fierce fight against the young Goryachkina, it seems to me that in the women's chess world there is more equality among the top players, and it will be interesting to see what happens in their next tournament in February, the Kings Cup in St. Louis. I really hope that you liked my coverage of this championship match, and as usual, if you did, please don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. For now, I thank you very much for watching, but see you soon with the Tata Steel games. Goodbye!